Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. We got about a little less than 8 minutes to go. Be sure to say hi. And don't be shy. Let me know where you're from in the live chat. Today we'll be covering enterprise SEO, B2B SEO, in-house SEO, all that good stuff. We have Towa waiting in the back room. All right, let's see. We have Bradley. What's up, my man from Toronto? Again, we'll be talking about enterprise SEO, in-house SEO, B2B SEO. I see a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy. Say hi. Bradley, my man. It says washing your hands. I don't know what emoji that was, but oh, I see it. So Bradley, I actually was reading that if we repeat our keywords, what we want to rank for this video, we keep repeating it throughout the video. So that's why I'm saying enterprise SEO, B2B SEO, in-house SEO. I'm going to say it just as many times as I can in the pre-show. Let's get this video ranking for enterprise SEO, guys. This is one of the first times I get to have one of my peers, someone that works in about in the same industry and same role as I do. So this is gonna be fun. All right, so see some of you out there. Let me give you a shout out. Don't be shy. Say hi. Charlene, what's up? Elizabeth, what's up? Oh yeah, Bradley, enterprise SEO is big money. It's you've been in as long as I have. It's been pretty good career path. All right. Stefan, what's up, my man? Glenn, what's up? What's up, Andrew? We got less than about 4 minutes left. See a bunch of you coming in. Don't be shy. Say hi. All right, Bradley, I'm going to put that comment on the screen so we can rank for enterprise SEO. It needs text. We need text. Enterprise SEO. Yes. This is going to be a cool experiment. I want to see this ranking. Enterprise SEO. I'm keyword stuffing our video.
That's funny.
Oh yeah. All right, we got close to 3 minutes left. I'm going to start picking this week's winner from last week's entries. I'm giving away 1 week subscription to IMG courses. A great community of excellent SEOs. If you want to learn SEO, IMG is the place to be. I'm a member in there. Learned a lot of stuff in there. All right. All right, again, we're talking about enterprise SEO, in-house SEO, B2B SEO. Looks like I got a shy crowd this week. Don't be shy. I see a bunch of you logging in. All right, we got 2 minutes. This is when I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the wheel. Let me know if you come. Be sure to email me, dre@seo.video. If your name gets called, the first person gets the prize. Let me go ahead and pull this up. All right. Let's see who comes up. Rayham. Email me. Vinod Kumar Tanim, email me. All right, last person. First one to email me. Bradley Burney, you're on. All right. Let's get back. We got 1 minute to go, guys. 1 minute to go. All right, we have Towa waiting for us. I'll introduce her in about 5 to 10 minutes. Once I get over the video clips. Actually, it's actually still pretty early, 11:56. Why is my timer off? All right, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and start early. I went on live. I got 20 seconds left. Oh, we got Bradley. Doing in-house SEO versus hiring an agency would be an interesting topic. All right. Yes, we will talk about that. Hobby, what's up, my man? All right, I'm going to go ahead and get things started here.
No delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1 minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the head of SEO at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Towa Ghosh. Before we get started, I want to say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Hobby, Bradley, Andrew, who else is there? Glenn, Stefan, Elizabeth, Charlene. Welcome to the show. And if you're watching the replay, join us live every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. I wanted to make sure that I wanted to change up the way I was doing giveaways here, but for some reason the Streamlabs thing wasn't working out. So I wanted to go ahead and maybe do some quizzes later on. But yeah, so just for now, put I love SEO in the live chats and engage in the chats. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
This is Ted Dibiase, the $1 Million Man. Why did Tiger Woods start studying SEO? To get his #1 ranking back.
All right, first with Google News. Google posted a blog to remind us to qualify our links. And they also posted more info on the new link spam update. Yes, another Google update. Be sure to start qualifying your links by putting rel equals sponsored, rel equals UGC, and help the algorithm know what your links are about. Ryan Stewart, actually, past guest here on the SEO Video Show, just announced he will be doing a how-to series on SEO tools, which is going to be pretty awesome. I mean, you're going to be learning from a top SEO. It's a great resource from a top SEO. Be sure to check that out. Andrew Steven and Viola Eva from High Voltage SEO analyzed 2 enterprise companies this week and broke down their SEO strategies. Let's check out a couple.
Number one is largely focused around what Asana has been doing. They do SEO-driven content marketing, and they make sure to meet their customers in every stage of the funnel. So whether they're researching general information, whether they're researching and reviewing tools, or whether they're ready to sign up, Asana makes it really easy to generate touch points. They're all over the SERPs. They rank for a huge variety of keywords, and they're very focused around that specific niche. The second strategy that we saw today is Trello translating the core of their websites into a multitude of languages and ranking extremely well with that strategy. So that is always something to think about, whether translating your website is cheaper than building it out, or what are the markets that you already have traction in, what are the markets where your business development team and sales team is already working in, and that might benefit from having translated content. I'm being German. I know Germans love German content. I think French love French content. So there might be something, even if you have a business development or sales team, you can probably make their life easier by having a translated website as well to kind of win those markets. And probably you can have a very nice SEO play in those markets. If you're banging your head against some very competitive terms in English, there might be a chance you might win it in another language.
For a complete breakdown of the strategies they discovered, be sure to watch the whole video. The third strategy was on mass page creation, so check that out. Did you know Trello's pages get indexed by Google? You could get creative there with some backlinks. All right, MozCon just passed a couple weeks ago. It was some great information passed on there. Let's listen on to Lily Ray's most significant takeaways from this year's MozCon.
So I think the biggest takeaway was the fact that, like in previous years at SEO conferences, we were much more focused on tactics and almost like hacks that we could use to rank better. And the shift lately has been a lot more on user experience. So it's almost like everything that is good for users is ultimately going to be good for SEO and good for performance, which is great. I think that, Cyrus talked about it with like the long click and whether that's a ranking factor, but ultimately like the things that he was doing to optimize for the long click are also really good for users as well. And then I think another big one was like what Brittany talked about in terms of just like contextualizing data and SEO metrics and making sense of them, and not necessarily like focusing on one KPI or taking it out of context, but kind of like looking at the bigger picture and kind of being able to present data in smarter ways. And then personally, I really loved Areej, Luke, and Jackie. I think did a really great job of just talking about some like technical best practices around crawling and indexation and international SEO. I love all those topics, so those were really great for me as well.
I attended MozCon this year, and Cyrus Shepard goes over these 3 click signals from Google search. One being the first click on Google search is a positive ranking factor. Earned long clicks. Once a searcher clicks on your page, how long do they engage with your content before they go back to Google is another ranking factor that he found. And being the last click is an awesome factor because they find that if they find your page and do not go back to Google, that's one of the best clicks you can have. He wrote this He wrote a blog about this, and I put the link in the description below. All right. So Lily also mentioned a little about reporting. Agency and in-house SEOs create a lot of reports. DeepCrawl put out a video this week on how to ensure they are not biased. Let's check it out.
Probably the first point, and I cannot stress this enough, is don't only report on the data that you want your audience to see. And it is so very tempting, especially if you are agency side and you're reporting to clients, to just cherry pick data that tells a good story. But that, at the end of the day, is not honest, it's not truthful, and it's creating bias in our data. So when you are reporting, you have to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. It puts it all in context. And I think we need to be a little bit more reassured that the data that we are sharing has a story behind it. And as SEOs, we can talk around, a downturn in traffic, or the fact that leads aren't going the way we want them to go, because we know the overall strategy, we know the bigger picture, and we shouldn't be afraid to share that data with people who perhaps don't necessarily understand it. Because the whole point of our reports and the visualizations that we use is that we are helping to communicate that with them. So that's probably my first point, is share all the data, all the relevant data, not just the stuff you want them to see. And then probably always linking back to wider business goals. I think we can get a little bit tunnel visioned in terms of only focusing on SEO traffic, SEO goals, the things that we have been working on, the things that we are working towards, but actually we have to always link our data back to those end goals and not just the goals that we've set ourselves as SEOs.
Having an SEO platform like BrightEdge or SEMrush can generate beautiful charts, but you still have to tell a story with that data. A book I learned how to do this well is Data Story by Nancy Duarte. It's actually a really great book to learn more about telling a story with data. I highly recommend it if you're looking into a high-paying career in enterprise SEO. Okay, our last video clip today is from Merkle Agency, the team, which is identifying audiences with SEO. Let's check it out.
We took a broad strokes look basically at, okay, what is the competition in this space and how are they approaching it organically, right? So who's winning, what content are they winning with, and how are they speaking to the audiences that is actually performing in search? And then we take a look at the biggest indicator we have of our user needs, which is that keyword, because something that we like to say is that users, they're really not going to lie to their search bar. They're really going to tell it everything that matters to them because they don't feel any judgment there. So it's something where we can really dig in and figure out what their biggest needs are. So we do take a lengthy amount of time.
No truer words have been spoken, by the way, Casey.
Yeah, exactly. So we take we take a lot of time building that large keyword landscape, like making sure that we're not just looking at the subset of 500 keywords, we're looking at 20,000 plus keywords depending on the size of our landscape, right? And we're making sure that we're covering all aspects of it, like I said, from competition to content format, but also really digging into what the users are telling us themselves.
When you work in enterprise B2B, building audience profiles, identifying the intent, and where they are in the buyer's journey is all a part of the research that goes on in a successful SEO program. Let's see. This brings me to my favorite part of the show. Let's go ahead and please, if you have any questions, she is no stranger to enterprise SEO and B2B digital transformation. So be sure, if you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat. While I do that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell while I get things ready here.
Towa is an award-winning digital marketing professional with over 15 years of focused experience in building SEO, SEM, content strategy, and growth marketing campaigns for B2B and B2C organizations that range from Fortune 100 corporations to Silicon Valley startups. She possesses excellent analytical, problem-solving, and written and presentation skills, and can translate marketing ideas and design concepts across all organizational levels. She has an MBA and honor graduate and the former head of SEO at VMware. Would you please welcome the current head of SEO at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Towa Ghosh.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Awesome. That was a great introduction, Paul. Thank you so much for that.
Of course. You know, I noticed that you were a BrightEdge user too. Like, I'm surprised we actually haven't crossed paths in one of the share events. I mean, I've been using BrightEdge for like 10 years now. Like, have you been using it for like all your enterprise career?
Yes, I did use it at VMware. That's when I got introduced to Bright Edge. And I do remember meeting you in one of the networking events of Bright Edge. And, I know that back in the day, we used to have these small networking events in San Jose.
Oh yeah,
So that was cool.
Oh, that's right. It was a user group, one of the user groups that we were part of the innovation circle.
Correct.
We were pretty cool there. All right. Okay. So I asked this one quick question to everyone that comes on the show in 1 minute. How does Towa get on the first page of Google?
Oh, well, there's just so much to it.
Like in 1 minute, what's your strategy?
I know. But if I have to really summarize it in a few bullet points, it would be to really focus on search intent. I think that's one of the key strategies that every SEO is going after, and it has resulted in positive impact for VMware as well as part done right. That's like basically your SEO foundation at the end of the day. And last but not the least, you have to focus on what are your priorities, set KPIs, set goals, and make sure that you're following through that vision that you're driving.
Love it. Love it. Okay, it looks like you got paused there for a little bit, but we got you back on. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you for that. I want to go ahead and rewind this real quick. We need to figure out, how did you first get into SEO?
Yeah, I know a lot of us in the SEO industry, we just happened to be there. There was nothing planned, but in my case, it was a bit planned. So I started my career in marketing communications. I was working with Unilever. That's, one of the largest fast moving consumer goods company. This was back in India. And then I moved to the United States. I did my MBA. And after which I wanted to restart my career in marketing. And that's when I realized that in order to work in the United States, I need a work visa. I need a sponsor where specialized skills are required. And I really didn't want to move from marketing. So I started doing research around which are those areas of marketing where specialized skills are needed, where demand is really high, but resources are limited. And that's when I got introduced to SEO. And I'm seeing that the demand for SEO is growing, every year. So last year, I think I don't know if you have ever noticed, but the search volume for SEO was in 2019 was about 10 million, which has increased to 30 million in 2021, which is amazing. So that just shows that 214% increase in search volume of SEO, which is great. Great news for all of us. But that's when I got introduced to SEO. And luckily, I did get opportunities to work in a few startups where, I was focused around digital marketing and SEO and SEM. But after a few years, VMware happened. And that's when my role was specifically into enterprise SEO. And that's where, all the passion for SEO culminated. And I'm lucky that I'm still in the same field, equally passionate as I, started my journey from. So.
Lovely story there. Okay, guys, we have a 200% increase in the search of SEO. You guys, we have it's job security. SEO is a great career to get into. So I want to, kind of go so how'd you actually learn it? You got in there, you found that the demand for it. How'd you actually learn SEO?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, interesting. So I learned SEO mostly, from internet. There are just so many sources and resources available on the internet. The second thing would be to I took up a lot of these certification courses around SEO and digital marketing. That really helped me. And I guess most importantly, I learned everything on the job, right? When you're in the job, things are just so different. It's not something that you read on the internet or, you learn from certification courses. Every company is different. Every industry is different. So I learned a lot, on the job, and also, looking at what the competitors are doing, in that same space. So doing a lot of competitive analysis, networking with people in the same industry, because that's when you really would know, what are the gaps and opportunities that you have in the current company, So I think the Bright Edge networking meets really helped me, to understand what Adobe is doing, what Cisco is doing, and, trying to exchange ideas, in amongst like-minded people. So I would say, all of that together kind of helped me to learn more about SEO.
Love it, guys. There's nothing better than doing in-house work and just getting into the weeds of things. And networking is such a great thing to do, because I mean, you can actually like ask questions with your peers. I mean, everyone is there to help, right? No one's going to try to like think you're going to take their job or anything like that. They're there to help you problem solve things. So please take advantage of these networking events. All right, so we have a few people that came in here. We have a Hobby here that says hi, Towa. Hello.
Hello.
We have hi. Aman says hi here. And we have Zen saying, I love SEO. We have a question from Stefan. Stefan actually asked something here. He goes, how do you use content marketing for enterprise SEO? I'm curious, how does your strategy work? How do you work with your content team here?
Yeah, this is interesting because that's one of the focus areas, I would say, in enterprise SEO, especially when I was working at VMware. So we look at these, and what I found that there was a lot of content pieces that were missing when we looked into the top of the funnel area. So when we divide the content based on the customer's journey, we saw there were a lot of pages that existed for branded keywords for consideration and purchase, but the gap was really in terms of making sure that we are also appearing for non-branded awareness keywords. So that's when we started creating a lot of content around awareness, and we created I still remember about 159 definition pages, and that really helped us to get to Google page 1, but organic positions between 1 and 3, and it got a lot of traffic to our website. So we there was an incremental growth of organic search traffic by about 4 million by just going by that strategy and scaling it across the local countries. So in enterprise SEO, I think it's also important to look at the global aspect and see how we can scale to all the other countries, not just US.
Love it. You guys, this is a really, really good strategy that not many enterprise SEOs are doing, is creating a glossary, like creating this glossary feature, like actually defining terms within your industry. I've actually did that myself too, like in a lot of my companies, but it looks like you guys had really, really good success over at VMware with that. I mean, is this something that is this something in your tool belt that you're going to be applying in, your new role you have here?
Yeah, of course. In SEO, you do a lot of testing, and you over time you see what's working, what's not working. And yeah, if you're in the same industry, in the same kind of company, and you have already seen success through one strategy, then yes, why not? And I've seen most of the B2B companies do that. And so yeah, if a strategy is successful, then definitely yes to your question.
All right. I actually forgot to congratulate you on your new role. Lovely. I would love to start. I'd love to talk about your journey to going that, but we have actually more people coming in here. We have Rupesh says, you are both amazing with some heart eyes. All right. We have a question here for Towa by Hobby. Have you ever used Google structured data, like critique review schema properties?
Yeah, so what really worked for us would be schemas along with FAQ content, right? So that's something I think a lot of the enterprise companies were not too much into it at that point of time. So I think the timing really matters in SEO. So it's always nice to keep up with the trends and make sure that you're leveraging the trends as and when they're out in the market. So I think we were one of the few enterprise companies which were first to market using schemas and FAQ, like combining the two together and seeing a lot of impact coming through it. So we did implement FAQ structured data. We had how-to structured data. So all possible structured data was implemented on all our web pages. And from that, we saw a lot of these pages going up on Google position 1, 2, and 3. And we also started appearing for quick answer results and FAQ. People also asked. So it was a lot of real estate wins, through those two strategies specifically. So schema, yes, definitely. That's an important technical SEO strategy that really.
Love it. Schema, guys, very important. Not in any type of SEO, local, enterprise. Schema is very, very important. I mean, I was watching one of your presentations one time, and you actually were doing a lot of voice SEO too, right? Like, were you implementing? Correct. How? I'm actually curious. Like, how were you actually getting stuff ranked with your voice SEO program?
Voice SEO is interesting because there have been debates around it, whether, that really, is it really effective in driving leads and revenues? But I think what is important is to make sure that you are out there, your results are showing up, in some of these quick answer results. People also ask, so that you're not missing out on the opportunities, right? You don't want your competitors to really show up on those areas. So it's better that you show up in those areas before your competitors does. So what happened is, like I was talking to you about the glossary and schema and everything put together, that really helped us to get a lot of wins for quick answers, and people also ask. And when you really optimize your pages for the featured snippets, automatically your results get picked up for voice search results. Because, when you look at voice search, it's nothing but it's the quick answer results that Google is picking up, So it's almost like, a two-pronged strategy, right? Like if this worked, then voice search will automatically work along with it. So that really helped us to get voice search results.
Love it, love it. Okay, we actually have something here from Zen. Zen actually want to ask, like, at HP, what is more important, marketing or sales?
That's an interesting question. Maybe I'm not the right one to answer that. But I would say both are equally important and they work hand in hand.
Love it, love it. All right, okay, so I wanted to go back into a little bit about like some other SEO things that go on in your career. Like what were like one SEO fail that you can tell me that you actually can learn, that you learn from and can share, that you can share?
Sure. Yeah, I think initially we were too focused on the search volume of keywords, right? And not paid too much attention on the search intent or the relevancy of the keyword. And I'll give you a quick example, like cloud is a keyword, right? And if you're working in the SaaS industry, people might say, oh, our pages are not showing up for the keyword cloud. But do you really want the web pages to show up for the keyword cloud? Because the search intent for cloud is so different. It could be, one of us in the SaaS industry searching for cloud services or products, but it could also be a fifth grader who's wanting to look at, what is cloud? So even though the search volume is really high, I think it's always better to look into the search intent and see whether it is really relevant for your business or not. Because even if you're targeting the long tail keywords or the keywords that are really targeted, like for example cloud solutions, cloud services, I think those are more targeted around your products and services, and those will get the right kind of audience to your web pages. So I think I wouldn't say fail, but I think that was a good learning, and I think it was a learning for everybody on the team. And we also communicated about this to our stakeholders, and they also, agreed to the strategy.
Love it, love it. Yes. I mean, you have to really, really explain like the keywords, because like a lot of people will just search things and say, we want to show up for this. And it may be more like a vanity thing, right? I mean, that's something that you have to really, really pay attention to and educate our peers. And which I do want to talk about right after I ask this question by Hobby. He goes, do you have an SEO joke or do you have a funny story about SEO?
That's interesting. I think I'll come back to it towards the end. Let me think about it. But there have been a lot of funny stories, and I don't know whether I should be talking about it here. But
well, I mean, you can always let us know here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the jokes that you show every week, towards the beginning of your time, those are hilarious.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Bradley actually asked us during the pre-show. He wanted to kind of learn a little bit more on. I want to actually know your experience too, like doing in-house SEO versus hiring an agency. What is something like? Do you work with agencies, or are you only working with your internal teams? Are you doing a combination of both? Like, I'm curious. Like, what's your experience like?
Yeah, I have been mostly doing in-house SEO. So I also feel that, when you look into an agency for SEO, it becomes a little tricky because, you need people on your team who really understand the products, the web pages, the connections, the keyword alignment and all of that. And I feel that being in-house really helps in that way. You get to do things faster. You get to communicate, because SEO is all about, communicating with so many stakeholders, especially if you're in a, bigger setup in a large enterprise companies. you have to communicate and get things done by working along with them, right? So an agency might not have the the internal view of what's going on inside the company, the politics, the who should you reach out to, so all of that. So I feel in-house SEO is extensive, but at the end of the day, when you get the results, you get visibility across the org. And I think that makes so much of a difference, because you're really running an important function being in-house, and you're running a team along with you, right? And you're you're taking everybody along in your vision of driving organic visits to your website. You get leads from there, you get revenues from there. So I feel in-house SEO is just so important, because you can sell a story. You can sell a story to the VPs, the execs, the CMOs. So it's really interesting and nice.
Love it. All right, so we got another question that just came in right here from Guru Prasad. HP is a big brand. Does people bother about organic growth? If so, what are the most important tasks you always take a look at?
Yeah, absolutely. I think organic growth has been a concern for all the enterprise, companies, and that's one of the main reasons is because the enterprise companies tend to spend a lot of money on paid media campaigns, right? And that's the same thing was happening at VMware too. We were paying a lot of, we're putting a lot of money into the paid search effort, into paid media. But when we started seeing the growth and the impact that we can get from SEO, things started to change. So then towards the end, like before I left VMware, we were looking into an integrated search strategy where we look into organic and paid search together and see how we can, reduce the budget and really focus on organic and, save a lot of cost to the company at the end of the day.
Love it, love it. And Guru, just so you know, they're definitely big companies like HP is focusing on organic growth. Towa was just recently hired at HPE. Yeah. So, I mean, they're definitely looking to growing their organic channel, which brings me to my question that I want to ask about. I mean, this is, you've worked at a VMware, great company, and then you moved on to HPE. I'm curious about the process. Like, was it something how did you get hired? If someone went to get hired as an SEO, like, what was this process like when you made the transition? Were you like, getting like recruited here, or like, how did the interview process look like? How did you like close the deal to like get the job?
It was interesting question, and I think you would be knowing because you work at Workday too. You're the SEO lead for Workday, so you would know about it. But it's hard, right? Like the enterprise companies, they're really looking out, specifically for VMware. I think when
Wait, I think you cut out. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you cut out real quick. It was, so you said you're at VMware, so right from there. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was a contract position, and I still remember that I went through like 7 rounds of interviews, and they had nobody in the SEO at that point of time. I was like the first one to, really start from scratch, transform the function from an underperforming function to a performing function. So it was a clean slate for me. So that was good in a way, but it almost felt like drowning in the ocean. But in terms of the interview process, I think because they were really looking out to start off fresh, they were really looking at somebody who has the soft skills, right, to talk to people, to be an effective communicator, and making sure that we get things done. So I think I was lucky. It's also being at the right place at the right time. And honestly, I took on to the opportunity. I didn't care whether it was a contract position or a full-time position. I think a lot of the enterprise companies, they start off with contract position and then they make you full-time. So that happened with me. I was there at VMware for a year, and after which I got converted into a full-time position. And it was really nice to kind of work out and start from scratch, see things, hire a team along with you and see the results coming through at the end of the day. So that was a great success story. And I feel that what really seals the deal in an interview process, especially for enterprise SEO, is to be relevant, right? So when I was giving my interviews, I gave a lot of examples around what kind of keyword gaps do we have. Like, for example, there was a keyword I remember hyper-converged infrastructure. So VMware pages were not really ranking on Google page 1, 2, or 3 for that keyword, and we had products and services around that category. So, I went in the interview and I showed the plan, like, this is what I'm going to do to be able to bring VMware pages onto Google page 1 and get visibility. And this is the traffic that I'm going to drive out of it, based on the search volume of the keywords and all that. And cut to 6 months after that, we were able to get the page on Google page 1. And today, when you search for converge infrastructure, our VMware page is showing up organically number 1. And that's a competitive keyword. It's got a CPC of about $60. That back in the day, it was $100. So it's about, playing along, making sure that you're showing that impact to the broader team, and making sure that you're extremely relevant in your interviews.
Love it, love it. You guys, in our industry, guys, as an SEO, you have the tools to look up the company you're going to interview for, right?
Yeah.
You can look and see where they are failing at. Like here, Towa was able to find some keywords where VMware wasn't ranking for, and said, "Hey, you're not ranking for this. Hire me, and I'll get it as the first one." So that's great advice there. Love it, love it. Okay, we have more people coming in. Shar, hello. Zen says she can listen to us both all day. Soothing. Thank you, Zen. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I'm curious, like, what are some, as we go on to your new journey here at HPE, I'm curious, like, so what was the first task? What was your first thing that you went to go do once you joined, becoming the new head of SEO at a company like, say, HP?
So I think honestly, first thing is to know your team, right? Know your team better, see who's doing what, understand the landscape. And I think in the first week, I was able to look into the data. And honestly, for me, everything starts with data and ends with an impact. So for me, I really want to dive deep into data and see what are those gaps and opportunities that you can focus on. And that's exactly what I did. I looked into the gaps and opportunities after analyzing the data. Like, for example, also look into the priorities of the business, like what kind of solutions do they want to prioritize, and then look into the kind of landscape, because the enterprise companies have different countries and visits are coming to your website from all over the world. So which countries do you want to prioritize? Because a lot of times these teams are really small, the SEO teams are really small, but in order to get things done, in that case, you will have to prioritize and see what solutions you want to prioritize, what part of the website you want to prioritize, what countries you would want to prioritize. So I think that's all that I did in the first 2 weeks. Know the people, know the priorities, know the relevancy around content.
Love it, guys. This is some real great knowledge, guys. If you want to get into enterprise SEO in the SEO industry, these are some really things you should be listening to, and some strategies you should implement right away when you get hired. So speaking of getting hired, there's some certain skills that, as enterprise SEO need, right? Because I know I was chatting with you before, like, you can be the best SEO out there, but not everyone can be an enterprise SEO, right? Because there's certain skills, there's certain things that we have to do. Can you go over some certain skills that you have to know that you feel are important to become an enterprise SEO?
Yeah, I think it's very important to be an effective communicator. And, and I think in an enterprise company, the scale is just so large, right? So it's very important that you kind of know how to pull in a story together, right? And you will be put in front of, the execs and VPs of the world, and you have to really convince them and, drive your vision along with them, right? And I think another important thing is in order to be effective, be an effective communicator, you need to understand who are those key people who will be evangelizing SEO for you, because you alone wouldn't be able to drive the whole initiative. So it's very important that you go out there, recognize those anchors for you, have excellent interpersonal relationship, be friends with them, and get things done along with them. And I think the interpersonal skills are equally important as your knowledge knowledge, right, about SEO and being really passionate about SEO. So what really helped me and my team members were that we were extremely, I think most of us are in the SEO world, we are really passionate about what we do. We really want to drive SEO. But at the same time, if you also look into the interest of the other people, what do they want, and how we can work along with them, I think that goes a long way in enterprise SEO. And there are a few good things about enterprise SEOs, because you're going to be getting a website which has a good domain authority, and it's very important to leverage that, right? But then there are disadvantages, like you'll have multiple websites and subdomains and everything. They start to cannibalize content at the end of the day. So I think it's always important to understand that how we can mitigate that gap and look into the broader picture and see what really drives the overall organic visits and what you can really show to the executives at the end of the day.
Love it, guys. That's something that some people don't realize, that creating those relationships with people to help you promote SEO internally, because you need those advocates. Because you're right, you can't do this alone. You need to have like that one hook person in the content marketing team. You need to have that one hook person on the social team. You need to have that one hook person in the web dev team. Because if you don't have that person that's going to be advocate for you and kind of like spread explain your knowledge to their team, it's going to be really, really hard. So you deserve another bomb for that one. All right. Okay, so I wanted to get into something that we were also talked about earlier in the video clips that I played, was metrics. Like what are some things, how do you do reporting? Like who do you report to? What do people care about when it comes to enterprise SEO?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we have faced this at VMware as well as HPE. So it's very important for us to start with our KPIs. And sometimes it's kind of hard to define, right? Because I don't know whether we should go for organic visits or revenues or leads. But I think from my previous experience, what really matters is to definitely organic visits is one of the KPIs that we report on. The search, the keyword ranking on Google page one for both branded and non-branded becomes extremely important, because you need to tie that story together, that hey, we went on to Google page one, now we are ranking on position one. This is the traffic improvement that happened because we were ranking on Google page one on position one, and you got to show that difference that you've made along with the tactics. So putting a story together becomes very, very important, and that's all we did in the last 4 years at VMware, putting that story together. What kind of tactics did we use? What was the goal? What was the results that we drove with all the tactics that we implemented on our web pages? So in terms of KPIs, I would summarize to say that it would be mainly year over year organic visits, because a lot of times month over month would depend on seasonality. There are a lot of these other factors that come into play. And then it would be your non-branded and branded keyword rankings. KPMs is a little different. So we also have key performance measurements, and that would be linked to engagements, right? So in an enterprise companies, we are not doing end-to-end management of SEO and content, right? So the content piece is managed by a different team. And that's why it's very important for us to kind of keep an eye on what's happening on the content side, to be able to inform them that, hey, if the engagement is low on this page, then it might affect the SEO scores. So it's important for us to keep an eye on that, like bounce rate, engagement rate, all of that is, part of the KPMs that we track.
Excellent!
Love it. You guys, she is explaining it how it is in the enterprise as an enterprise SEO. So be sure to, if you want to get into the industry, please pay attention. Okay. All right, guys, I'm coming close to the end of my show. If you guys have any more questions, please ask them in the chats. We just got one here by Zen asking, do you measure SQLs and how?
Yeah, that's again interesting. We do measure AQLs, accepted qualified leads, and that's when we own the entire content, like the end-to-end management of SEO and content together. So we did it for all our definition pages because that was an SEO initiative, right? So we started with keyword research, we started with content framework, we were doing the production work also. So when we looked into the accepted qualified leads, that's when we could kind of put the story together, because everything was done by our team internally, and all the visits that would go onto the glossary pages would come from SEO. So when you have a defined path, I think it's easy to measure your AQLs and SQLs. For us, I think the glossary pages gave us about 30% AQL conversions, which was like really high for us. So that's when we knew that, okay, we need to focus more on this strategy.
Got it. All right. If you guys don't know what SQL, that's sales qualified lead for those not in the enterprise world. Okay, we have one question here by Hobby. If you could change something in SEO, what would it be?
Something in SEO or in the world of SEO that I am in, which is enterprise SEO. If I really have to change something in the world of enterprise SEO, I think it would be the focus that's given to SEO. I think it has so much of potential, but not many companies are giving that much of importance to SEO. I think it's about educating. I think it all comes down onto the SEO team at the end of the day, how we educate them and how we can evangelize, about SEO, how the CMOs of the world, see SEO as a channel, and how we can, really show the impact coming through out of all the goals that we set for ourselves and tie into the broader goals, right? For example, if the company has a goal to increase brand perception, right, and brand visibility, I think it would be interesting to, work alongside with the brand team of the enterprise company and making sure that, we show them that results coming out. So we can show that, these many were driven by the SEO strategies, these many clicks. So there is a close alignment with, building your brand along with SEO.
Love it. Yeah, I know the brand team loves looking at our brand searches, so like as one of their measurements. So like with you guys, even brand searches are really, really important in SEO in the enterprise world. Okay, we got a question here by Stefan. Before I ask my last question, do you work with influencers, niche sites, or focus only on your own web properties?
We do work with influencers. I think that really helps in order to get backlinks, right, to your site, and again, to increase your domain authority, your page authority, your keyword ranking. So if you know that, you, like, for example, you want to show up on Google page 1 for the keyword hybrid cloud or private cloud, then you have to go out there and see who are the influencers in the market talking about it. And, if you can get some links from them, or you can, ask them to promote in a very organic way, then I think it really makes a difference. So influencers, I would say, thumbs up to influencers, and talking to them and making sure that you promote your web pages through them.
Love it. All right, hope that answers your question, Stefan. We have one more comment here by Zen. I'm in enterprise sales and 20-30% leads are unqualified. Thanks. I will share this with our marketing team. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to come up to my last question. All right, Towa, I want to ask you, this is something I always ask all my SEO professionals that come on here, is how, if someone wants to get into the industry, I know we've been talking about it, like if you could sum it all up, how, if someone wanted to get into the SEO industry, become an enterprise SEO professional, what would your advice be to them?
I think be persistent, right? Don't give up. I think that's number one, because a lot of times, I know we face a lot of hardships in terms of convincing our ideas, and SEO is a long-term process, right? It's not that you get to work on a campaign, you can show the results in a day, in a month or in a week or so. So that's why I would say just keep at it. Make sure that, like I said, have networking with the right people on the team, cross-functional stakeholders, show them some previous work that you've done, some success stories, and they can really value your work in that way. So as many success stories that you can create, you can build in your journey, of SEO, I think that's amazing. That really helps you and takes you a long way. So keep at it, be persistent, making sure that, you kind of in touch with the SEO masters, right, in the industry. Make sure that you're updated with all the latest trends in the industries, because SEO is evolving. Every day there's something new coming up. So it's very important for us to be out there and learning all the new. And you can learn from Paul's show, right? Like every day he's coming up with something or the other new stuff around SEO. So keep yourself updated. Make sure that, you enhance your communication skills and presentation skills, and how you can work together in a team and drive that vision that you will be doing for SEO. Because SEO is not just about search engine optimization, but it's about website optimization. It's about touching every aspect of website so that the search engines are really pulling your web pages for the customers, and those pages are resonating with the customers. So it's all about optimizing your website. It's not really about search engine optimization anymore.
Love it. What an answer, Towa. That was so awesome. Okay, if there's any last words to make this or comments, whatever you want to give to the audience to make this episode feel complete for you, please, the stage is yours.
I just would like to say thank you, Paul. I think you've done a great show for the community, and it's been so amazing to be a part of this show. And I think for the community, I just want to say that, like, I started my talk show with with the search volume increase for SEO. It has grown by 214%. So there's a lot of demand in the world of SEO. So just keep at it. There's a lot of opportunities out there for you. Look at, go onto LinkedIn and search for SEO roles. You'll see plenty out there, because people are focusing on making sure that they're getting organic growth in their companies by reducing, the paid campaigns efforts. So there's a lot of demand for SEO. Just keep at it, and if you really believe in it, I think the sky is the limit.
All right. Thank you so much, Towa, for being my special guest today. Can you please hold on really quick while I sign off here?
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and put I love SEO. Until next week, peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre de Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!